Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Today I am speaking to you from Club Mavi in Turkey, where I'm on holiday, wearing a Turkish brand and lapping up the sunshine. It's just fabulous. I'm going to be speaking to Kelly Casperson, and we are going to be talking about testosterone. I take testosterone. I went off testosterone. I went on all three HRT hormones in my early 50s. And I went off testosterone because I was beginning to get whiskers on my chin, which completely freaked me out. And then I had, sorry, let's just try and find Kelly while I'm talking. My wonderful Dr. Maria, that I was very low on testosterone, so I should go back onto it, which is what I did. And here she is. Hello.
Hi.
Look at you, all snuggly and warm.
It's cold in the morning still here.
Kelly, thank you so much for joining me. Love your hair, by the way.
Thank you.
I mean, I tried to do you, but this is all I got.
Your hair's fabulous, as it is.
I'd also like to point out that everybody here in the resort, when they are new, waitresses or whatever, they all have to wear this badge saying I'm still learning. And I thought I should wear it because I'm sure you are going to teach a lot today.
I love that. Thanks for inviting me.
Let's start. Testosterone. It is a journey. Many women say, I'm not on it, I don't need it. I think I was put on it. Yes, you are a urologist. Kelly is a urologist. It's kind of scared me because I started getting whiskers. And I thought, that's the male thing, so why am I doing it? Because it's a male thing. And you put it so well when you were talking about the Viagra, and Viagra's been given to all these men, and who are the men sleeping with? I never thought of it that way. So go forth.
Well, testosterone it's my favorite hormone. I think estrogen gets all of the press.
Yes.
Progesterone gets completely ignored like an ugly stepsister. She's important, but she gets ignored. And then testosterone's this very kind of quiet badass. And so maybe that's why I like testosterone the best. But I like the underdog. And
Yes.
I think that testosterone's the underdog for women because there's so many biases against it. There's so many fears. And when I put women on testosterone and they come back, the stuff they tell me, like one woman was like, the German I learned as a child is coming back. Like, this is a brain hormone. People say, I'm more curious. My husband says I'm asking more questions.
Gosh.
I actually have done around the house. Of course, libido's good. I actually see results in the gym. Like, the things that women say when they come back using testosterone, it's not just libido. And I think we've put testosterone in a corner for women, and we've said it's only for libido. And so women who don't have partners or don't have trouble with libido, they're like, am I supposed to lie? Right? Because we've given it one thing. And then I challenge women to say this. I said, what's libido? Libido's a mood. Where do moods come from? Moods come from the brain. Okay. So what you're saying is testosterone improves moods in the brain. And they're like, oh, yes. It's not just for libido. So I love it. And you got to go back 2 steps because women, doctors, men, nobody knows testosterone is in all bodies. And when we are young and menstruating and having periods, let's pick our 30s, we actually have 4 times the testosterone in our body than estrogen.
In our 30s.
20s, 30s.
Wow.
Whatever we say, your hormones are like online.
Oh, looking at this. Okay. I asked a doctor about testosterone for women. He laughed at me and said, if you want a penis, take testosterone. It's not for women. That's shocking.
It's shocking. It's awful. But here's the thing, doctors did not get taught this. I did not get taught this in medical school. I had to go learn when I started being very interested in female sexual health and female hormones. I was like, ovaries make testosterone. Only through ovaries making testosterone do we then make estrogen. Testosterone comes first on the estrogen pathway from cholesterol. That's easy for anybody to find out. But if you think that testosterone is just for men, then you're not curious about it, right?
Right.
Now, first of all, testosterone will not give you a penis. But if you take testosterone at male doses, which is 10 times a female dose, things change in your body. But women, it's really 1/10 the dose to get us kind of where we were functioning before menopause, perimenopause. And I think the other myth, if we're talking about myths of testosterone today, testosterone starts going down well before your periods start. So many people think of menopause like a cliff, right?
Yes.
Your periods end and now we have no hormones over here, right? Which is not true for really any of the hormones, but estrogen kind of does this, progesterone kind of goes down before the periods, but testosterone does like a linear decline starting way over here. So certainly in your 30s, you're going to start to see a low testosterone, and you can still have periods and have low hormones. That's
Yes.
another myth that's out there. And because so many people will say, my doctor said I can't start any hormones until my periods are done. And that there's no medical basis behind that statement.
Yeah. And then other doctors will say, no, you've gone through menopause, you're postmenopause, you don't need any hormones now.
Well, you don't need glasses and you don't need hearing aids and you don't need a hip replacement and we shouldn't take care of our teeth. Like, where does it stop? You know, and why is the bias just on ovaries?
Yes, totally. So one of them, you said hormones past 65, which is fascinating also.
Oh, that you can take hormones after 65?
Well, I'm going to say, I luckily have a doctor who says if they work for you, you keep taking them until you don't want to take them anymore.
Take them to the grave.
Yes,
If you
exactly.
want to.
But that's
Yeah.
not public knowledge that people do think that if they're post-menopause, we didn't ever go on HRT. I'm post-menopause now. It's too late. I don't need it now.
Yeah. Topic. So one of my podcasts, I have a podcast where I talk a lot about this, and one of my best listened to podcasts still, it's old. It's called The Boomers Should Be Pissed. And the reason for that is when we scared everybody off of estrogen, we started figuring out, okay, well, who's the safest? Who can we start on estrogen? And the guidelines came out and they said it's safest to start it within 10 years after menopause, roughly age 60.
Right.
People took that statement to say you can't have it after age 60. That's not what the guidelines say. So the guidelines say the safest window to start is earlier, before your body's already suffered the changes because of chronic low hormones. So I have many women that I start on. They're 72. They're worried about their bones, you know, and so they're worried about their energy. So I see many women who are past that window because I'm an expert, because I understand the data. And yes, there may be a very slight increased risk starting it older. But if you're healthy, you're fit, your heart's healthy, and you use a transdermal estrogen product, it's incredibly safe, incredibly safe. And I would say, again, that statement had nothing to do with testosterone. So testosterone's not a contraindication either. And I think progesterone's also incredibly safe. And I haven't seen any data to say these hormones aren't. It's the estrogen one that got misinterpreted because of that safety window.
I'm having a real problem saying this today. A urologist. So I'm thinking, why would I come and see you? I didn't know. I thought that would just be if I had incontinence.
Yes. So you would come to see me for recurrent urinary tract infections, bladder leakage, pain with sex, burning with urination, all of these things are menopause issues. And so
Okay.
I connected the dots and I said, why is everybody coming to see me after they've been suffering for 8 years? Right. And like, these are all helped by vaginal estrogen, especially just local estrogen, incredibly safe. You can start that at any age. You can start your 92-year-old mother on vaginal estrogen. It's perfectly safe. And so I got into hormones, systemic hormones, because of seeing all these women coming in with menopause symptoms that they had no idea was menopause because it was your bladder.
Yeah.
And their sex life, because I care about women's sex lives.
Now, also, I have been to see somebody about my sex life because, as you also mentioned, I feel sorry for my husband. I adore my husband. He's the kindest, sweetest, handsomest, everything, but I just don't feel like it.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't come and see a urologist. I have been to a therapist to
Mm-hmm.
talk about why I don't like it.
Yep.
That's what I did.
Yep.
It didn't fix the problem.
Right. I mean, that's what's so wonderful about sexual desire. Wonderful and complicated, because sexual desire is biopsychosocial, and what that means is it could be talk therapy. We could be delving into body image issues. We could be delving into the marriage relationship. We could be delving into stress, right? Like all of the psychosocial things that really affect our sex drive. But women are allowed to be biologic creatures just like men are, right? And I think that's another bias. Like, men are allowed to have low testosterone and we're allowed to help them. Women are allowed to have low desire because of a biologic reason, and we're allowed to help them. But we just think all the women just need therapists.
Yes, or we just say to each other, girls sitting together, they say, I really don't want sex tonight. And they all say, no, nor do I. And then the odd person will say, oh my God, I have sex every night. And then you sort of get back in your shell and think, yes, I'm one of those people.
Yeah, I mean, things I think of, number one is their pain. If a woman's having pain with sex, she does not desire sex. You can't desire hitting your thumb with a hammer. So we always talk about pain. Is there any pain, lubrication? Because perimenopause and postmenopause is incredibly common because you have thinning of the tissue. We actually need estrogen and testosterone to have supple, lubricated, good collagen down in our tissues in our vulva and vagina. So I'm always thinking about hormones and pain. And then we're thinking, is it the dopamine? Do you just, there's this in America, it's coming to Europe. It's not in Australia. So this is not a worldwide availability. We have a medication now here called Addy or flavanserin.
Yes, I've seen you talk about that.
It was on people.com yesterday, which is a big website here. So I just did a reel on it. It's been around for a long time, 5-6 years. And nobody talks about it. It's rarely prescribed. Yet Viagra came out in 1997 and it's a blockbuster drug.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, if you're fixing all the erections, 90% of them want to be sleeping with a female. We have to help the woman.
Yes, please.
So Addy, just real quick, is FDA approved in America for low desire. It works on dopamine in the brain. Once a day pill, and you can sleep is a side effect, but like good sleep, because we know how sleep is an issue in perimenopause and menopause, and then mild weight loss. So it's like the side effects aren't that bad for most people. Some people get kind of.
So where do people, and you say it's FDA approved, is it available in other countries? Do we know? And is it the same name?
It's coming to Europe. I don't have a timeline.
Right, I'm gonna get some in my shopping basket.
Yeah. To Europe. I don't know where it is in the UK.
Okay.
But I would do what I would do.
But why is that not? Why didn't we know about this before? That there was something that was going to, and is it something that I'm going to take it for a week and then I'm suddenly going to start wanting?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interest. You're not going to like wake up horny, but your interest is going to be most women will describe it as subtle but welcome.
Okay. And it's ADDI. YI. Okay, I will write it down. And it's available not over the counter in the States.
Yep.
prescription. Okay, ADDYI. I don't know,
Yep.
we're gonna need some of
Or
that. And is there testosterone? Sorry, go ahead.
testosterone helps libido too. Not for everybody.
No, no, it doesn't do that for me, but it is a confidence giver, I think, when in menopause you begin to lose your confidence a little bit. But what about the blooming whiskers?
Well, we have many ways to take care of hair on chin, my dear. We can
Tweezers.
laser it, we can pluck it, we can shave it, we can electrolyte it, all this stuff. But testosterone promotes hair growth. It doesn't mean you're going to turn into a man. But
No,
my saying is, when you play with hormones, sometimes there's side effects.
right.
And you don't get all the wonderful things of testosterone with zero hair growth for some people. Some people get a little bit, they'll notice a little more acne than normal, but it tends to be pretty subtle. And some people say then it goes away. And then if it's a lot, I always check doses. If women are on way too high of a dose, I want to bring them down.
Right.
So,
and also I'm putting it on the inside of my arm, and then I get the odd longer hair on the inside of my arm or the inside of my thigh. Luckily,
a lot of people will put.
I can now see. I didn't used to be able to see it.
Yeah, exactly. That's so good. Yeah, a lot of women will put it on their legs because a lot of women will shave, and so they don't notice any hair growth on the legs,
right?
Because they shave.
Now dose. I am using men's testosterone, which comes in a little silver sachet. So you buy a box of X number of sachets, and then I just squeeze out, well, probably half a nail.
Yep.
And then I use that.
Yeah.
That's per day.
Yeah.
Does that sound all right? Do you start that and then check blood, or how does it work?
I always check blood beforehand, and just to know where you are, and then I check it at about 6 weeks. And but doing what you're doing, it's very hard to get too high of a dose.
Right.
Most women just get a very, very nice physiologic dose where they're like, it's subtle, but I'm glad I'm on it. Some women will be like, I'm back, baby.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but a lot of women will be like, I feel more like myself. Again, it's a brain hormone. So feeling like yourself is very hard to study, but I would say one of the most important things we can do is to feel like yourself again.
Yes, it definitely. I'm sure that it gives your confidence back. So we've done the drug, which is seriously important. The same benefits. We get the same benefits that men do naturally by taking it. I mean, we're not getting male benefits.
No, you're not.
Tell me the benefits.
Man, there's two. This sounds too good to be true, but there's about 2 papers on this. It sounds too good to be true. You're not going to want me to say this. There's 2 papers where women on testosterone have a 50% decreased risk of breast cancer.
2 papers.
Why we're not researching that more? So
that's quite shocking.
Quite shocking. Bone health, muscle, lean body mass, brain. We have dementia data in men. It has not been studied in women as much, but we've got some data to suggest that testosterone's heart protective. So to me, it's cognitive. There's a lot of cognitive benefits. Just women saying like, I can think sharper. I have more interest in the world. So to me, I'm like, that cognitive benefit has to be great for dementia prevention. We need more studies, but it's so biased that we don't even believe it's in women's bodies. So it's very hard to do research on it. We don't have a female dosed product.
No,
that's very hard to do.
Exactly. That's why I'm using men's stuff.
Yeah. So women are pushed out to the sidelines of medicine to use a men's product to get a compounding dose. It's hard to research when we don't have a standardized dose. But I'd say for a business opportunity, 50% or 100% of women have low testosterone. That's a big market. Like, why aren't people jumping on board?
Now, one person's saying, can I take testosterone if I'm not on HRT?
Yeah. So to me, and again, I can't give medical advice on Instagram. You'd have to come see me. But how I think about it is if there's some reason that you can't be on estrogen or progesterone, which is a rare reason that you can't be on those things.
Yeah.
There's a lot of myths, but to me, I'm like, why aren't you on? You can be on all of them for most people. But for let's say a woman, she's got a reason that she can't be on estrogen. Most likely she can still be on testosterone.
So you would just take that alone?
Yeah, some people do.
Can we increase testosterone naturally?
Good question. In the perimenopause, right, when you still have ovarian function, regular sleep, a clean diet, get rid of alcohol, marijuana, any drugs that are toxic to hormone producing organs. Smoking is horrible for the ovaries. Horrible. People who smoke go into menopause 10 years earlier.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's dramatic. So any sort of smoking, stop it. Weightlifting and getting your body mass, trying to get your body mass to more lean body mass than fat tissue, because fat tissue will convert your testosterone to estrogen, so you want more lean body mass. So yeah, you can to a point, and then your ovaries are done, and then it just, still do all of those things, but it's time for supplementation.
Right. Gosh, there's there are so many subjects that I want to talk to you about, but I must stay on the one, stay focused. But you are magical, and we need more of you. Testosterone. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm just saying, I love this topic. It's my favorite thing. Getting women to feel better is my drug. It's so awesome.
We do need to do, I think, a specific sex one at a later date, if that's all right. I need to talk to you about that. My husband will be so grateful. So do you mind if I ask you some of the questions?
Yeah, let's do it. That's fun.
Okay. How do you test if your ovaries are done producing eggs?
Oh, good question. So if you are done with periods naturally, that's a good sign that you don't have fertility left. But if you actually want to say, like, how many eggs do I have left, that's an infertility specialist question, and they can do blood work basically to make a gauge of how many eggs that you have left.
Right. Okay. Still, I don't know why I would go and see a urologist. It's so interesting.
And clarify, not all urologists have my interest.
Right. And you are based where?
I'm in Washington State, north of Seattle.
Okay. Yes, you are. Yes. Yes. She's a doctor, and I'm on a very low dose, and I feel so much better ever since taking it. One thing, I was getting my testosterone compounded, and it was very expensive. And so luckily my doctor said, go and get the men's version, which is the same as compounded.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, compounded is nice because they dose it properly. So usually you can just go.
You do the pump. Yeah.
Right. So nice. But yeah, I mean, I'd say they're mostly, for all intents and purposes, very similar.
Right. And a application there and in a thigh?
I do leg. The other thing, so with any cream gel hormones, there is a risk of transferring it to kids, other people, if you hug them or touch them and stuff like that. So that's why a lot
Don't be touching your husband then.
Yeah, he won't get much compared to how much he's got in his body. But with small kids, grandkids, stuff like that, to put on the inner thigh and then put on pants, so you're not going to transfer it to anybody.
That's so interesting. No one has ever said that. Blood levels. What dose or blood level should you have when supplementing with testosterone?
Good question. So it's hard to answer because the U.S. numbers are different than the Europe numbers and the Australian numbers.
Is that because we're all different?
We do it in deciliters per milliliter. You guys do it in nanomoles per liter. They're just different units of measurement.
All right.
America usually the goofy one, in all fairness. we don't have the metric system. It's weird. But the other thing to say about that question is people get obsessed about numbers when you give them numbers. And if I say 62 is the right number, then people will obsess about how close to 62 they are. And that's not how I practice medicine. How I practice medicine is, how do you feel? Are you happy where you are?
Right.
Do you have any signs? I check the number because I just want to know in the background that it's in the range that I like. And I'm going to use that number with talking to you on if I think it should go up or down. But people will try to dial in of like, I need to get, why isn't it was at 64 and now it's at 61. And it's like, that's not how labs work, right? They fluctuate. So I don't like to give people a range because people will obsess about it.
Right. Okay. I think that's very fair advice. DHEA. I took this, and a lovely gynecologist lady said that she was going to try it because she had never tried it. So we both tried it at the same time. I didn't notice any difference at all.
Yeah. So DHEA in America, DHEA is over the counter. It's a supplement.
That's where I got it.
Yeah. It's very easy to get, but it's unregulated. It comes in a bunch of different doses, and you never can trust that what's on the label is in the product.
Right.
That's how unregulated the industry is. So it's very hard for me to talk about something that I'm like, I don't know if your 10 milligrams of DHEA has 10 milligrams of DHEA in it.
Right.
Problem with it. But that aside, DHEA is a precursor hormone that actually converts into estrogen and testosterone. But it doesn't do it very well in most bodies, meaning we think the data, we need more data, but perimenopause probably gets a better benefit from it than postmenopause.
Right.
Just because you've machinery to convert a little bit more is one way of thinking about it. So it's very safe. It's not going to hurt you. Start with a low dose, 5 milligrams, 10 milligrams. It comes in massive supplement doses in this country because men take it too. Start with a low dose. I noticed oily skin and I had crazy sex dreams on it. And that's about it. Crazy sex dreams and oily skin. And I was like, I can take this or leave this.
Okay. All right. And I don't remember any of those symptoms.
Right.
But I maybe wasn't concentrating. My doctor is making noises about reducing my testosterone because she says they don't know if there is a cardio risk.
Yeah, we do. There's a lot of papers on that.
Right. And there is not.
But can I be blunt just to make people think for a hot second?
Yes.
Okay. Do people, women, take 10 times the dose to transition and live as males?
Yes,
they
assume
do.
So. Right.
Yes. There are transgender men.
Right.
Have they been doing this for decades? Yes. Do we have papers studying them to see if they die? Yes. You can give a woman 10 times the dose so she can live as a man, and she does really great. We've got great studies on that. I do that point to say, me giving you testosterone to get you to where you were in your 30s, we've got 10 times the dose safety data.
Right. Good point. Love it.
I just like, people are like, oh my God, it could be so scary. And it's like, people take 10 times the dose on purpose. They're called trans men. We've got papers on them. They do great. You're gonna be fine. And if you have a heart risk, like your heart risk is your heart risk based upon your genetic style, blah, blah, blah. Like, people are gonna have things happen to them. It's not because of their hormones.
Yeah, don't run up a hill. Yeah. Testosterone pellets. I don't know anything about those.
Yeah. So testosterone pellets are very high dose. Testosterone pellets are very, very common in the US. Again, why? Why are pellets common? Pellets are common because we don't have an approved female dose. Women are pushed to the sidelines of medicine to try to get this hormone. And what pellets do, this is my analogy. If you're on the Mediterranean Ocean in Turkey and I fly you to Everest Base Camp, you're going to feel kind of crappy because it's too fast, too high, too fast.
Right.
Right. So I want to take you from the Mediterranean Ocean to the Rocky Mountains in America. Right.
Right.
I'm going to give you a little bit of elevation, but you're not going to feel bad on it. So pellets take people from 0 to Everest Base Camp fast.
Right.
And that's where it's a shock to the system. And a lot of people do poorly with that. So that's why I like the creams and the gels, because it's like, I want to get you physiologic. Do I think some women do better at higher doses? Yes. But I would get you there very slowly.
Right.
And a lot of experts will say, if you're going to do pellets, get there slowly. It's the 0 to 300 that it goes very poorly for people.
Right. Okay, that's very sensible. What does testosterone do after surgical menopause?
Yeah. So ovaries make testosterone. So surgical menopause takes out the entire factory. So it tends to be a little more dramatic because you don't have the physiologic time of the ovaries slowing down, right? And even after your period stop, your ovaries still make some testosterone, right? So I've seen a woman, she's been in menopause for 10 years, then she gets her ovaries removed, and she's like, this is awful. I can't get off the couch. I have no energy. I'm crying all the time. I'm foggy. And they're like, we don't know what's wrong with you. And it's like, well, you took her little bit of testosterone out on Tuesday, right? And so some women, even after menopause, will notice a big change after their ovaries come out. But so, yeah, the thing about surgical menopause is that it's fast, right? Because it puts it in the bucket.
Yes.
As it's surgery.
Gosh. When do you advise testosterone? Is there what lab results?
It's how you feel. See, people are obsessed with labs.
They are. They are.
Because in our culture of being women, we want to be perfect. We want to be the best. We want to do it right. We want to follow the rules, right? And I'm like, but how do you feel? How do you feel? What do you want to improve in your life? And then I can tell you if testosterone might help you or not. But we don't diagnose low libido by a testosterone level. We don't check a testosterone level and say, now it's time to start. Like, that's not how it works. We're not cookie cutters, you know? And
But
it's
also,
like,
is it the same? Is it like estrogen that it's different today to tomorrow or this morning to this evening? If you did blood tests?
if for perimenopause,
Right.
yeah.
Right. But postmenopause,
And
not.
postmenopause, some women will still make enough testosterone because the ovaries will still make testosterone, but it's 50% the testosterone you had in your 30s.
Right.
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 Yeah. Okay. So hormones right now, they're not approved for prevention of disease. So nobody's going to say, oh, you should start at 47. Nobody's going to say that, right? It maybe some doctors who are going to say that, but like from like a medical perspective, there's no like you have to start or you should start. This is a personal choice at this point, and I don't see that changing, right? We're not going to say you need to do this to prevent whatever. Nobody's ever going to say that with hormones. This is a personal choice based upon a conversation with you and hopefully an educated doctor to hear what your goals are and to help you try them and adjust them and see if they are great for you.
Do you, going back to human nature, sort of caveman era, we were not supposed to have, that is an argument that some women have. We've done our thing. We've had the babies. We now don't need to be independent or brave or any of those things.
Here's the deal. Let's look at longevity data because that's fun. So yes, everybody remembers the one great aunt who lived long. But if you look at longevity data, going back as far as we can document history, as long as people kept track of how people live.
Yes.
Average age, and this is factoring in for infant mortality to all the statistic nerds out there. Average age, 45, 47, 52, maybe 54.
Yeah.
And these were, who did we keep track of? We kept track of the wealthy men. So this is as good as it got. We have wealthy men longevity data. So yeah, we're going to live probably 4 or 5 years past menopause. And then you're going to die. Why are we living longer? Sanitation, clean water, antibiotics, excellent trauma care.
Right.
Antibiotics alone, which I would argue, people are like, only do what's natural. Antibiotics aren't natural. They're a medicine that we created to help people, right? So the natural argument will piss me off. It's like, don't floss then, because flossing's not natural, or wear shoes. But we are at a time in our world where we are living longer than we've ever lived before.
Yes.
We have no idea how to live to 95 and do it well. We're like the first generation that's trying to figure that out. So to me, I'm like, you've got 40 years with low hormones, and hormones are messengers. That's all they are. They're not magical. They're messengers to cells to help cells function well. They're not magical, right? But if you're going to want to live unnaturally for 30 to 40 years, you might want to do some unnatural things like brushing your teeth, wearing glasses, getting eye surgery, right? Taking hormones. But when people take hormones and they make them exceptional, right? Like, I want to be natural. I'm like, well, don't drive a car. Like we get very shouldy on women and hormones. And when I step back and I'm like, listen, we don't know how to get to 92 as a population with health, but we want to figure that out.
Yes.
And I think hormones are part of figuring out how to get to 92 with health, not with 10 prescription medications for broken bodies that we don't exercise, that we, like, to me, I'm like, no, it's not natural. But dying after childbirth 1 in 8 times is actually what natural is. And none of us are going to sign up for that.
And talking about broken, that's your book. I Am Not Broken.
I'm not broken.
You are
because
not broken.
Women think they're
are not broken.
Yeah. Women think they're broken, and I just kept hearing it over and over when I started talking to them about their sex lives. Here, I have a cover. You're not broken. Go get it. It's coming out September 10th.
Fantastic.
Because we didn't get education. And when you give women education, they can make smart decisions.
Yeah, that's what it's about. And also finding the right doctors. That is so hard, knowing which doctor to trust. And if you don't like the information, go and speak to another one.
It's a burden. It's a burden on women that they have to go get a second opinion, a third opinion, advocate for themselves. I can only speak for America, but I know Europe's no better. I know Canada's probably worse. UK's probably a little bit ahead. But our medical system, it's designed to treat disease.
Yes.
It's not to prevent disease and be thriving and be healthy and to not get osteoporosis and to not get dementia and to not get diabetes. That's not how the medical system's set up.
Yeah.
And when you understand that, you can understand, oh, that's why I have to bring up the conversation about hormones. I have to bring up my sex life. I have to bring in care, because those are healthy things to manage and to keep healthy, instead of like, you're broken. And this is an interesting thing. They have data on if you take perimenopausal women and you put them on hormones, estrogen hormones is what they're talking about. It decreases the risk of getting diabetes at 1 year by 30%.
Wow, never heard that one.
If that was a drug, it would be a blockbuster drug. It would be on every guidelines. Any pre-diabetic woman would be put on it.
Yes.
30% reduction in diabetes.
Huge.
That would save our countries millions of dollars.
Yeah.
But
Shocking.
the hormones are not. Hormones are not. They're not prioritized, and I think it's a great loss
And
to
they're
society.
expensive.
And they're expensive. Yeah, in Canada, this is interesting. In Canada, birth control's free.
It is,
but
in England.
Yeah. So birth control is free, but hormone replacement therapy is not free. So women will stay on their birth control because it's kind of like hormones. It's like synthetic hormones. They'll stay on them as long as they can because it's going to be expensive when they actually have to switch to what your body naturally makes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think we should love and leave you. I've loved every minute of this. Thank you so much for sharing. I do think we need to talk about the sex issue at some point. I'm sure we will upset some people, but if you would like to join us, and Kelly, if you would do that with me, I would love to do that. Drop a note below and say yes or no, because it would be quite interesting. We probably should do a poll on it or something.
Say no, you just don't have to come.
Yes, exactly. Come and grab a cup of coffee, and we will have the discussion. Thank you very, very much, and don't forget, everybody, get the book. I'll write the name of it, and I will write the name of the drug, and I will see if I can get it.
Perfect. We'll see if we can get it to you.
Thank you. Thanks very, very much.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.